Hello, I'm Doodle, and welcome to 100 Days in Survival Stardew Valley. What does survival mean in this context? Well, I've added a ton of mods, as I like to do, ranging from needing food and water, making it so my animals can get ill and die if I neglect them, and having a pretty small farm to work with. I also have base game tweaks like monsters spawning on the farm, and the mines in the community centre being remixed, with a ton more mods added just to make things more interesting. My goal is going to be to not die for all 100 days. Passing out because it hits 2 AM is fine, but I can't run out of energy at any point, something that happens very fast if my food or my water runs out. I want to get at least 10 villagers to 5 hearts, have made considerable progress towards the community centre, and come first place in every single festival. I'll put all the mods that I've used and any music that isn't from Stardew Valley in the description below, but other than that, let's get started and see just how much we can do in these 100 days. Day 1, I woke up on my new farm, grabbed my parsnips and got straight to planting them. I made a chest as fast as possible for inventory management and harvested some fibre, using it to make my first glass of water of the game. I cleared the path to the south to make life easier, and decided my next task would be foraging as much as possible and selling it all to Pierre for some boosted Day 1 money. Stardew Valley Expanded has a huge Cinder Snap Forest section, which is where I do most of my foraging for the rest of the game. It also means I got the Forest Sword, a great early game find which makes the mines up to level 40 a breeze. Selling everything we found netted us an extra 800 gold, which I then used to buy water and the cheapest modded crops I could, parsley and spinach. Next up is Gus. We're going to be seeing him a lot in the early game, as our diet will consist mostly of bread and water, and he has both. We eat our first food by the bar, before heading home to plant our crops. It's small, but it's a start, and we're going to need that crop money if we want to survive. Day 2, I watered my crops and was shocked how fast my food went down. I realised I was going to be eating through about 3 bread every day, and that's if I didn't do anything high energy like chopping trees. I went straight to visit Willy, as the fishing rod is another way to get us some extra cash for food money. Then, I did just that, rationing my bread to keep me just above starving whilst I fished. Fishing got us about an extra 600 gold, and I proceeded to spend all of it on water, spinach seeds and more bread, allowing us to survive until day 3. Day 3 is the rainy day. This means I don't have to waste my precious bread supplies watering crops, and use all of it on obsessively fishing. I did this literally all day, getting another 600 gold by selling them to Willy, and then more that I could take home to sell in the shipping bin. I finished the day back at the bar, taking a moment to introduce myself to the villagers there and stocking back up on bread. I have a portrait mod on, and seeing everyone's faces made me super happy, so I made sure to do the rounds and see everyone that I could before leaving for the day. Day 4, our spinach has finished growing. It gets us around 315 gold, which I then use to buy potatoes, the best value for money crop that you can get in spring. Guess what I did for the rest of the day? Yup, fishing like a mad woman. I headed to Gus that evening with over 2,000 gold in the bank though. Trying to save money, I only bought 3 bread, eating 2 of them straight away, which meant tomorrow I was going to be very hungry. It's day 5, and who cares about bread? I now have a little loaf of my own, who I've named Artemis, but end up shorting to Artie. I happily picked 75% of my crops and took Artie with me to sell them. Entering town, the community centre got unlocked, so I took a moment to pop inside and trigger the Junimo arc, before making around 1,500 gold from Pierre. One of my ideas for survival was going to be chickens, as my house comes with a mini kitchen already installed and all you need is eggs to start making some super basic food. The coop costs 4,000 gold, however, along with more stone and wood than I currently have, so I ignore it for now and bought more seeds with my money instead. After a very speedy visit to Gus for my carb fix, I head into the wood to forage as the sun set. On the way home, I get attacked by a slime on my farm, a good reminder that in this playthrough I need to keep a weapon on me at all times. On the morning of the 6th day, we got our letter from the wizard, along with 500 gold from our dad. With the chicken coop still on my mind, I did some foraging to get a little more gold, which got us the funds to buy our bread for the day. After that, I did a loop around the top of the map back to my farm, where I had some lunch. I decided to try the quarry on my farm as an early replacement for the mines, and have a look at the screen. I'll put it in a time lapse, but my hunger absolutely plummeted. I knew then that if I wanted to tackle the mines, I would need to bring a stack of food and a stack of water with me, or I don't even think I'd make it to level 10. Day 7. Clint came to visit with some furnace blueprints. After watering my crops, I was nearing starvation, but headed to the wizard's tower anyway. He explained that he would give me a potion to allow me to read Junimo, which in turn would mean I could complete the community centre. Throughout the entire cutscene, I was praying the trippy drink would give me some kind of hunger saturation, but I was disappointed. Out the front door of his house, I ate my last piece of bread, leaving me unable to do any exhausting tasks until Gus's opened in the afternoon. For the rest of the day, I tentatively collected stone and wood, with the hopes of having a chicken coop soon. Day 8 was a rush, as I knew Robin's would be closed the next day and I wanted that coop built. The rain helped with watering my crops, allowing me to get straight to tree chopping. I had a foraging break around midday to try and get some emergency food from the forest, but it barely got my saturation up at all. Luckily, I was only 18 stone short, an amount that I could afford to buy from Robin, so I managed to buy the coop and did a little loop-de-loop for joy before running back into the rain. I knew that the next day was going to be hard, as food should always be your main priority, and I was going to bed almost starving. Day 9, I woke up and harvested my parsnips. I managed to scrape together 2 whole field snack bars and grabbed Artie for company and emotional support. I began running around looking for forage, before I remembered that running drains your hunger even faster, and I was better off finding a place to just stand still. I was positive that Gus opened at 12. I ate a couple of my parsnips outside Pierre's store, but they barely helped, so I sold the rest to him, buying some more water with the money. I sat on a bench until 12, watching my hunger drain, and then sat in the bar instead, watching my energy drain, even checking the map to make sure I got the opening time right. I'll put it in a time lapse, but at this point, my energy was about running out and it was my health bar that was draining. Running to get food from Willy would kill me. Running to find forage would kill me. Gus became my only hope, until finally, with 5 more seconds to live, he strolled through the door like he had all the time in the world. I wish I'd been recording in real life because I was actually screaming at this point. I ate that bread so fast and vowed to never let myself get that close to death ever again. Day 10, my potatoes finished, meaning that soon we'd have enough money to feed ourselves again. Whilst I was fishing, Artie stood behind me and made me look like an anime horse girl, and shortly after I fished up a diamond. Now with nearly 800 gold and a precious gem in our pocket, I did the usual grocery shop visit and headed home, glad to have an uneventful day. On day 11 our coop was finished! I created the world's tiniest pen, temporarily, and rushed to Marnie's. I bought 2 chickens to start, naming them Mumbo and Grian. They're hopefully going to keep me alive once they grow up, so it was a relief finally having them on the farm. After that, I went back to fishing, earning another 600 gold, and even found some elusive spring onions for the community centre on my way home. I found so many, in fact, that I ended up having 4 spring onions for my dinner, which I'm sure gave me fantastic breath. Day 12. I scooped up Artie to go foraging, ending up at Pierre's to buy cauliflower, tulips and basil, a nice change from parsnips. 1 trip to Robin's later to return her axe and thank her for building our chicken coop, and then it was back to my farm to plant all my new seeds. This continued quite late into the night as I began to worry about how large my crop fields were getting. It's the Egg Festival, which means we have one of our challenges which needs fulfilling, but don't worry. As an adult competing in a children's competition, I think I'm in with a good shot of winning. I bought 5 strawberry seeds from Pierre, as buying any more would risk my bread money, and then started the egg hunt. To save you from watching the whole event, I was a machine, Imagine Sonic the Hedgehog and the Flash had a purple-haired baby, and you've basically got how the competition went. In winning, I got a cute straw hat, which is a good time to say that every hat I wear in game, I have to draw in real life. So, if you'd like to support this channel with a like, that would be very appreciated. It's day 14, and Mumbo and Grian are big chickens now. We've also had our first eggs, and whilst they aren't very good for saturation, it means I can buy one less bread every day. I bought and planted some more seeds, and then grabbed Artie to go to the blacksmiths and museum. I only ended up handing in 4 artifacts to that museum, but it still gave me that new game feeling. I ate dinner outside Gus's with Maru and Penny to one side, and for once, there was more than bread in my stomach. I ran home feeling pretty good. Day 15, we got another 500 gold from our dad and decided for the first time ever to enter the mines. I was severely underprepared, with 2 eggs, 1 bread and 4 salmon berries, but I had to see how hard mining with these mods would really be. It didn't go great. By 3:30, I was already forced to leave the mines and eat the last of my food as I didn't want to be risky like I was on day 9. I bought 2 bread from Gus and then ran around looking for forage until the sun set. The only thing I have written in my notes for day 16 is that it was a berry picking day. And I can confirm from the footage that all I did for an entire day was pick berries and then stand at home in my bedroom, shoveling them into my face. Classy. Day 17, I decided I would like to increase the hermit flock. I ran into Marnie's and bought Tango and Impulse with a promise that I would increase the size of their enclosure soon. For the rest of the day, I fished at the river, finishing up the night with another feast of salmon berries. My first tulips finished on day 18, which meant I had some gifts for the villagers. I spent most of the day running around the town, trying to work out who was most worthy of receiving a flower, but gave up pretty fast and decided to spend the rest of the day picking berries instead. I managed to pick a pretty good amount, ending the day at 52 berries. Then ate 4 spring onions for dinner again, and went straight to bed without brushing my teeth. Day 19 would be different. No longer was I the naive farmer, running into the mines with a baguette and 2 eggs. This time I had berries, falling out of every pocket imaginable. This time, I was ready. And all jokes aside, it went really well. Berries are overpowered. I managed to collect like 64 copper, a nice amount of starting stone and coal, and a load of geodes, which I love smashing. That night, I even leveled up. All round, a successful day mining. Waking up on day 20, I was greeted by the sight of way more tulips and lots of wet mud. Tango and Impulse were all grown up, so I would now be getting 4 eggs per day. But I couldn't feed them as I had no silo and it was raining. I went into town and bought the backpack upgrade, and spoiler alert, this is the only time I update the backpack in 100 days. And then I headed to the blacksmith. I got a very unlucky geode haul, but donated what I found to the museum anyway. After that, I decided to give out gifts to the villagers, as getting 10 villagers above 5 hearts is a pretty long-term thing and should be started as soon as possible. As it was a Saturday when all the foraging gets reset, I decided to do just that to finish off the day, and I found a decent amount of stuff. My chickens hate me, so I decided day 21 is the day that I build a silo. I know I have a mod that means your animals can get ill, so I didn't want to take any chances. For the rest of the day, I went fishing, both to get my level up and to try to collect fish for the community centre bundles. Day 22 was a good luck day, so armed with 4 fried eggs and my hat full of berries, I ran back into the mines. I ended up making it down to level 45 with 11 iron, 40 copper and quite a few gems, and when I got home there were slimes around my storage, but they were easy to kill with my forest sword. Day 23 was raining, but my silo was built, meaning I could give my poor chickens some food for once. I decided it was time to give them a real home, so I began clearing out some land for my coop at the bottom of the farm. I thought it would be a nice change to fish at the bridge at the far right of the town, and somehow ended up catching a catfish. That area seemed a little too expert for me, so I moved to the beach for the rest of my fishing trip, and then foraged the parts of town that would be closed during tomorrow's festival. It's the day of the flower dance, and we aren't going. We have no one to dance with, and I'll have a far more productive day if I stay on the farm or go to the mines instead. I stopped off at the community centre on the way, completing the spring crops bundle, and then went to the mines, making my way through the icy levels. I made it to level 53 before encountering an infested level, noping out and deciding to spend the rest of the day foraging instead. I had 3 leeks for dinner and nothing else, which was about as filling as you'd think. Day 25, we're a quarter of the way through. Every 25 days I'll be taking a picture of the farm to see our progress. Keep this a secret though, I used day 26 this time because it's raining. I finally moved the coop to its proper place, excited to see the chickens have the space they deserve, and decided, hey, there's a lot of space. Why not get more chickens? So that's what I do, naming them Pearl, Stress, Scar, and Doc. To make them extra happy tomorrow, I finish up the chicken pen and make it completely safe, with stone walls, and then neaten up the rest of the farm until nightfall. Day 26. I let my chickens out in their new enclosure for the first time, and took Artemis with me to the blacksmith's to smash some geodes and get my watering can upgraded. I also gave out some gifts to the villagers, before heading into the woods for some foraging. Day 27. I'm back to giving out gifts to anyone I come across. After a little fishing break on one of the bridges, I decide to give a tulip to Emily, accidentally giving her a birthday gift. After a bit more fishing, this time at the docks, I raid Lewis's bin finding some cookies. I decide to eat them from the safety of my home, where no one can judge me. On day 28, all of my chickens were fully grown. This means I had 8 eggs that I could use for food, and at this point I'm pretty safe in terms of not starving to death. I celebrate by having a very high cholesterol breakfast, then run to pick up my copper watering can from Gus. Me and Artie decide to fish at the lake today, where I try, and fail miserably, to catch a gold star largemouth bass for the community centre. Spring is over! It's now the first day of summer, day 29, meaning it's going to be a chore day. All highly productive stuff, tilling large amounts of dirt, buying plenty of seeds, realising I don't have enough money, and then fishing for cash. I end up managing to buy everything I need, and my new crop field was looking far more impressive than the old one. My watering can upgrade helped a lot too, but I still want sprinklers as soon as possible. Day 30, I saw something that I haven't actually seen before in the hundreds of hours I have playing this game. I had been fishing in some bubbles just off the dock for quite a while, zoned out, when a little monster man swam out from under the dock and left towards the ocean. I nearly lost my fish. I was very shocked. It's amazing how much stuff is hidden in this game. After that, I bought and planted more seeds on my farm, trying not to think about how long it would take to water tomorrow. I had eggs for dinner. Don't think about my blood pressure, I'm sure it's fine. Day 31 started off with an explosion, and I woke up cuddling my fried eggs in fear. Wiping the yolk off my shirt, I opened the front door to find Susan, the Stardew Valley expanded character that's been trapped in the mountains all spring. I checked the fortune, but the spirits hate me, so the mines are a no-go, so back to fishing for me. Day 32, I ran up to Robin's. My farm was starting to come together, but I wanted to buy paths to stop the grass from spreading everywhere. I was adamant that today I was going to the mines, so much so that I didn't even bother checking the fortune, and after a very desperate attempt, I got stuck down there, one level away from a checkpoint. I accepted my fate. Comfort ate my eggs until I passed out. Don't forget, this doesn't count as dying for this run, that's only if my energy or my health hits 0. Waking up on day 33, I could finally check what I had found in the mines the night before. 60 iron, 2 dwarvish scrolls, and a decent amount of gems marked it as a good mining trip, even with the unfortunate end. I decided to make some modded machines, the mill and the bread oven, but was very disappointed to find neither of them work with my mod Automate, meaning I have to refill them by hand. I put down some of my stone paths where the grass was getting annoying, and then finished the day by chipping away at the friendship challenge a bit more with a few loved gifts. Day 34 it was raining, giving me a break from watering my crops. I used this as an excuse to collect wood and even go to the mines for stone with the aims of using it all for decoration soon. This took up the whole day, so I did my usual egg binge and then bed. Even more rain today, which I used to turn the stone I collected yesterday into paths, and walls to fence in my crops. I kept my bread oven topped up whilst doing this, so I'd have some food that isn't egg. The lightning was getting pretty dangerous, so I left Artie inside for once and visited the blacksmith and the museum alone, before joining her inside to rearrange my house. I prefer the new layout, but it would be nice to get some new furniture for it soon. Day 36. All of my poppies are finished and I walked into the farm cave for the first time. I bought more flowers from Pierre and some floor tiles for the house too, but was very upset to discover you can't change the floor in the modded kitchen. That will have to wait for a house upgrade. I happily ran into town to give out my poppies, only for Lewis to hate it. And then everyone I gave it to hated it. And after looking it up, I realised I had managed to grow the only hated flower in the entire game. Great. Feeling like a disappointment, I ran to the Hat Mouse to cheer me up, buying a little daisy hat which I wore to fish the sadness away. Several more crops finished on day 37, and to make up for the poppy fiasco, I went and bought more gift flower seeds. I spent some time mining in my quarry, and then went foraging, where I decided on my next goal. I want to build a barn. Day 38, and the luau is tomorrow. Not only is this one of the festivals that I have to win, but it will also get my hearts up with everyone in town helping me out with my other challenge too. You can't technically win the luau, but I took it to mean that you need the best possible response from the governor, leaving me with a very small amount of options that I can put in the potluck. Luckily, I've been fishing like a maniac, and this is modded Stardew, so I ran to the bridge to the right of town to catch something incredibly stupid, a butterfish. I managed to catch a gold quality one, but it was extremely painful, so there was no way I was trying for an iridium quality. I just had to pray that gold was going to be enough. The day of the luau, the moment of truth. No messing around, I went and dumped it straight in the soup and got that event started. Using a modded item can be risky. You never know if the people that created it remember to add it to the list of luau options correctly, but luckily this time it all paid off. Everyone loved the soup, and checking through the friendships menu at home, I had at least 6 more 1 hearts with people than before. Thank you, Butterfish. Day 40, I had already run out of stone from all my decorating, so I went back to the mines to get more. I returned with 169, but no water, so I visited Gus's saloon for the first time in ages. Since I was there, I bought some recipes too, getting the ones for bread, tortillas, pancakes, and omelette. The last of which absolutely carries this playthrough for the final half. Day 41, and it's raining again. It has been an unusually wet and stormy summer. With a very healthy bank account, I went to Robin's and bought the barn, placing it in the same area as the coop for the time being. As it was a Saturday, I spent the rest of the day foraging, following up with a dinner of pancakes in the rain. Day 42 was a huge progress day. Maximum luck and good food meant the perfect time to go to the mines, and we absolutely smashed it. Starting at level 55, we ended up all the way at level 70, with an upgrade to our weapon, 191 stone and a ton of gems including a diamond. I even found a coffee bean, and whilst it's a bit late for this year, it will help us get a head start next year. I ran home thinking about all the sprinklers I'm going to make after completing our next mining trip. Loads of crops finished on day 43, so I went and handed them into the community centre, finishing the summer bundle. I went and bought the cheapest Vault bundle as well since I was there, earning 3 chocolate cakes. I decided to go fishing in the ocean to catch a quality tuna, managing to do so really fast, but in the process, fell in love with the starfish's little face. I knew I needed some of them in my house, so I bought a tank and spent the evening rearranging the room to fit them in. Day 44, some real gift flowers finished, none of that poppy nonsense, which was good, since the daily luck was terrible, meaning giving gifts was all I could really do anyway. I dragged Artie with me and she kept me company whilst I tried and failed to get a gold largemouth bass. Again. I did catch 6 frogs though, and they are very cute, so I suppose it wasn't all bad. Day 45, it's time to expand our farm family. I bought 4 cows, naming them Danny, Aaron, Ross, and Susie, and then I let them out of the barn to stretch their legs. I stumbled across a cutscene of Claire falling asleep at her customer service job in Georgia. Totally understandable with the amount of customers they get. I can't imagine it's the most high intensity customer service job out there. And then I had a good laugh at Emily when she said it doesn't rain much. Emily then rescued a parrot that is now missing most of its brain cells, and after that I accidentally gave Sam a birthday gift, something that seems to be happening a lot. Day 46 was a write-off. I tried all day to get a gold largemouth bass, leaving with only silver ones and 5 more frogs for my collection. Day 47, we got 3 cutscenes in town. First up was George struggling with his postbox, then Demetrius by the fountain, and finally came the Dusty cutscene, who is such a good doggo. Artemis is a corgi, but I love German Shepherds too, so I definitely gave him pets. I spent the second half of the day in the mines, made it to level 80, but lost track of time. I passed out just outside my farm, but leveled up in combat skill. Day 48. I woke up and checked my inventory from the night before, discovering a new weapon, which was actually pretty good. I had something very important to do today. Everyone has one character in Stardew that they hate. For some, it's Elliot because they find him snobbish. For others, it's Abigail because she eats all of the things that you gift her. But I hate Hayley. Every time I see her, she tells me that I stink or my shoes look cheap and nasty. She just always has something to say. This is the proof. I literally had avoided her until this point, but decided to be the better person and put it behind me for the sake of my challenges. The rest of the day consisted of going to the museum, giving some gifts and foraging, with a dinner of pancakes and bread before bedtime. Day 49 was a pretty heavy-duty gift-giving day, as I ran around the town gifting everyone that I came across. I spent the evening tidying up the farm, something that continued into day 50 as I prepared for the midpoint photo. There was so much progress from the last shot, as the farm began to look organised. I squeezed past Artie to get into bed, and slept into the second half of the 100 days. Day 51. I checked the fortune and the spirits were angry, but I decided to go to the mines anyway. I got to level 89, but ran out of time, only just making it to bed before passing out. Day 52. Surprise, surprise, was another rainy day. I bought a milk pail from Marnie and then spent some more time giving out gifts around town. I ended up back on the farm and crafted up 3 sprinklers with many, many more hopefully coming in the future. Days 53 and 54, I spent fishing for that gold largemouth bass. At this point, I finished one batch of script writing and editing, so I can actually talk about what happened. I caught a gold quality one in the first season and sold it without realising it. I'm not sure how it happened. Yes, it's causing me pain every time I have to edit a fishing segment, but unfortunately the fish will elude us for a while yet. Day 55, Emily comes by to tell us that we can use her sewing machine, a neighbourly offer that ends up becoming a bit of an obsession later on. We also have a cutscene with Willy, who stops us in the forest to throw a fish on the floor. I decided to get 2 more cows, calling them Insim and Quick GG. I tried to make a loom for my cotton, but it turns out it needed a modded machine with loads of dependencies, which I'm not doing. So I got sad and sold it all. The cotton did sell for a lot though, so we're kind of rich now. Day 56, the last day of summer. I had 1 cloth, so I took it to Emily's and used a void essence, getting a matching couple's top with the wizard. I bought a rare seed from the travelling merchant for the community centre bundle, and then did some fishing until the dance of the midnight jellies. I'll leave a bit of it in. It's a long cutscene, but it's still very pretty. It's day 57 and autumn has begun. I bought loads of seeds, including watermelon, eggplant, yam, bell pepper and pumpkin, some of which I don't think were an autumn crop in real life. I was so busy I forgot to milk my cows until nearly bedtime, and stood outside for a bit, admiring the modded grass. Day 58, and it may be a different season, but the rain is still the same. I went mining for almost a whole day, just failing to get to level 95 due to running out of water. I managed to make it through the night by eating a mushroom, which gave me enough hydration to make it home. The morning of day 59 I had to make an emergency water, and then spent some time creating a chest to store extra hay in to feed my animals with over winter. I grabbed Artie and went to buy water from Gus, and also picked up the remaining 3 food recipes. We ended up on the beach to eat dinner, as I noted just how terrible fried eggs are at giving hunger saturation. Day 60, our cows are now all grown up. The spirits were happy, so we headed back into the mines, finally making it to level 100 and claiming our first star drop. We found some good stuff, including squid ink for the community centre, and that night we got to farming level 9, unlocking the seed maker, and combat level 5, where I picked the fighter perk. Day 61, I decided that Stardew Valley must be set in the UK. I previously thought it was set somewhere on the North American continent, but the rain now has me convinced it's set in Scotland. We went to the community centre, completing the blacksmith bundle, the exotic foraging bundle, and the lake fishing bundle, and got to stand in the middle of the Junimos carrying our bundles, feeling very successful. I then did a bit of deforestation in Robin's front garden, and used the wood to upgrade my barn. More trees took the chop after that, to be put to use as a bridge, allowing me to get to a pretty nice foraging spot. After going to bed that night, we got a visit from a fairy, who grew over half of our pumpkins for us. Day 62, we picked our magical pumpkins and went out towards the forest to forage, stopping at the wizards along the way to give him a gift. The rest of the day was more deforestation, as I still had plans to upgrade the coop and the barn even more. Day 63 and the barn has finished upgrading. Off to Marnie's we go, buying 2 goats which I named Charlie Balls as Charlie Barley wouldn't fit, and Matt Pat for all the game theorists out there. I tried making a new food, survival burgers, but omelette is just as good and much simpler to make. After that, we donated some more items to the museum, and then headed back to tidy the farm for the rest of the day. Day 64, I realised I was missing out on some great money and should be making mayo machines. For that, I needed earth crystals, so I went to the mines to search for one. On the way there, I realised it's berry season, so I picked some for emergency food. At the end of the day, all we had found was 1 earth crystal and a couple of artefacts for the museum. Day 65, I put the earth crystal to good use, making the mayo machine and 3 preserve jars to make jam. Most of the day was me running around town or foraging with Artie, but we did stumble across the wizard in the forest. He explains that he maintains a barrier around the town, and that without it, there would be monsters wandering in. Considering how many turn up on my farm, it made me think that perhaps he doesn't like us very much. I had a bit of a stupid moment on day 66. I had been trying to work out for a few days now where all of my refined quartz was coming from, and it finally clicked that you could turn normal quartz into refined quartz in the furnace. I kid you not, I have hundreds of hours in this game. I thought that the only way to get refined quartz was from CDs and glasses in the recycler. Let's move on. Emily introduced us to the parrot that she has saved, and did a little dance, whilst apparently slipping us some mushrooms, judging from the visuals, and I spent the remainder of the day picking berries. Day 67, and guess what? There's water in the sky! I submitted the full foraging and full crops bundles to the community centre. I went to visit the Hat Mouse, who has so many fantastic hats now, and ended up getting a headband with a purple flower on it, and then gave out some gifts to anyone that was about. Once I got home, I put on my new hat and felt very cute. On day 68, the rain continues. I managed to bribe Marnie with a sunflower, convincing her to let me enter her room and steal Mayor Lewis's shorts. I did return them, but I had some other quests to do first. I gave Linus back his berry basket, then visited the Adventurers Guild, and finally returned the shorts to Lewis, managing to complete 3 quests back to back. Going to Sebastian's room for the first time, I also triggered a cutscene, after which I gave him a loved gift and left him to code in peace. Day 69, I went foraging and collected hay to feed my animals through winter, for the whole day. I ended up on the beach, which is where I also spent most of day 70, getting a really sweet cutscene with Sam as he talked about trying to protect his kid brother in his dad's absence. I then faffed around with crab pots for far too long, leaving me with no time to do anything else. Today's the day! Mark it on your calendars, day 71 is the day that I caught a gold star largemouth bass. Jodie had invited us over to dinner and requested one, so I figured why not spend all the way up until 7 PM trying one last time to catch this fish. After catching it, I ate a victory omelette and then immediately put it in the community centre, terrified that Jodie would use it in her curry instead of the worst quality one. She seemed pretty impressed with the fish that she got anyway, despite me throwing it on her living room floor. It's the Stardew Valley Fair, something that we have to win for the challenge. We submit 6 gold star pumpkins, 2 gold star mayonnaise and a gold star large milk, and proceed to decimate the competition. I bet 500 tokens on green over and over, and for the first time ever, managed to get green every time. The chances for green are higher, I'm just usually very unlucky. I bought everything from the stall, including our second star fruit, realising at this point that eating star fruit changes nothing as I still have to eat constantly for my hunger bar anyway. That night, I sold 37 mayo and was shocked by the crazy amounts of money that we got. Day 73, I got the final barn upgrade, meaning we would soon be able to buy sheep. I got great geode luck at the blacksmiths, allowing us to hand in quite a bit of stuff into the museum. We also handed in all of the items to the crab pot bundle, winning us even more crab pots, which I added to my collection on the beach. Day 74 was spent saving up money for sheep, as I knew that they'd be expensive. I sold a ton of stuff, planted loads more crops, and even managed to craft up a total of 10 shiny new sprinklers. Day 75, I took the quarterly screenshot and spent some time admiring how great the farm looks now. I then ran to Pierre to sell everything I could, using the money to buy 2 sheep, which I named Forge Labs and Rubber Ross. I later realised that Ross already had a cow named after him, but one can be a part of the Game Grumps and the other is for his own channel. I mean, sure, that works. That night at the bar, Emily gave us a free drink, and once I made it home, we got level 10 farming. Day 76, we got 2 cutscenes. First up was Evelyn, who gave us some home-baked cookies. Next was Maru, who left us alone with her dad, who basically told us we aren't smart enough for his daughter. Finally, though it wasn't a cutscene, I saw Sebastian, Sam, Victor and Abigail playing a tabletop campaign, and I thought it was really cool seeing how the Stardew Expanded characters get along with the vanilla crew so well. So at this point in the 100 days, I develop somewhat of a one-track mind. I spend literally all of day 77 chopping trees, and then on day 78 I accepted Robin's 7-day rock rush mission, collect 1,000 stone. By the end of day 79 I had 426 stone, and by day 80 the total was up to 655, after which I decided to have a day off. It's now day 81. And I take some cloth to Emily's, triggering an argument between the 2 sisters about cleaning chores. I use some coal and a batwing to create some t-shirts, and they end up looking almost identical, which is a bit disappointing, but they're both still better than the wizard's shirt from before. Day 82, I get a little confused and mistakenly think it's Spirit's Eve. I put on my Halloween costume a day early, like a lunatic, but thankfully get invited to Emily's 8 Heart clothing event where everyone else is dressed up silly as well, so I blended right in. Shane, Robin, Lewis, and Abigail all took their turns, and finally Clint did too. After which, Clint accused me of stealing Emily. A little bit unfair, since I still had no idea of who to marry in this playthrough, and was quite happy so long as I could keep using her sewing machine. After the event finished, I mined until about 6 PM, and then waited for the Halloween festival that didn't exist yet. Day 83. Okay, now it's Spirit's Eve. I mined until I had 900 stone, and then stopped. A mistake that was going to cost me in the future. Happy and clueless, I enjoyed running around the maze that the wizard set up, winning the golden pumpkin at the end, another successful festival. I tried to put the pumpkin in a seed maker that evening, and was pretty upset when it didn't work. Day 84, the final day of autumn. I knew there would be winter crops, but not how many, so I just went all out arranging my farm and preparing for the snow. Day 85, the realisation finally hit. My sense of time isn't the best even in real life, and apparently the 7 days for Robin's quest had already passed, with me being within touching distance of completing it. I wrote 3 times in my notes that I was very upset about the stone, and then bought 120 juniper seeds and 40 mint. I made 5 new preserve jars, and spent the rest of that day planting my crops. Day 86, I was back at the sewing machine. I had worked out that you can dye clothes, but everything so far was coming out pretty ugly. After that, I went and bought a really cute winter hat, and gave out some gifts around town, which nowadays usually consisted of sunflowers, jam, and some chilies for the awkward villagers that aren't keen on either. Day 87, I suddenly realised that the only tool I'd upgraded so far was my watering can, so I headed to Clint's and upgraded my pickaxe. I also headed to the beach to check up on my crab pots, which I had forgotten about and were completely overflowing. Day 88 I had decided was another tree chopping day, with some foraging thrown in. I was happy to get money from anywhere as I wanted to upgrade my coop before the end of the 100 days. Once night fell, I visited the community centre, finishing the winter foraging bundle and spending 5,000 gold on the vault, along with filling in a lot of items for the other bundles. On day 89, I went to pick up my copper pickaxe, and made some new clothes, because I'm an adult and I can do what I want. I went to Robin's to upgrade my coop with the aims of getting a couple of ducks soon, and then spent the evening in the saloon, paying for Claire's salad in a cutscene, and giving everyone gifts. I love how busy it gets on a Friday, especially with some of the expanded characters there too. It really makes the town feel livelier. Day 90. It's the final 10 days. I took my pickaxe to get upgraded to iron, and stumbled across Sam getting told off by Lewis for skating on someone's property. In true stalker fashion, I jumped out of the bush I was hiding in to defuse the situation, and then scurried off to spend the rest of the day fishing. Day 91. My coop upgrade was complete, so back to Marnie's we go. I bought 2 ducks, which I named Kurgasakt and Jaden, with 2 more sheep called Fundy and Domix. After that, I went back to fishing again, but I couldn't catch anything for the community centre. Day 92. I happily skipped to Emily's house with an inventory full of clothes making gear, only to find her front door locked. I remembered suddenly that it was the Festival of Ice, so I ran in and announced that I am the strongest in the village and that anyone that challenges me will suffer. 6 fish later, I had won, but due to the previous sewing machine ordeal, I didn't even have room to take all of my prizes home. I vowed that tomorrow I'd be back to finish what I started. And that's what I did on day 93. I woke up, picked up my steel pickaxe, and handed out way too much jam. Then I had time to make some mediocre outfits, which was definitely worth the wait. I decided once I got home that the farm needed some serious rearranging, and that's what I did all night and most of day 94. Day 94, I also went to the mines since I had used up all of my iron and lightning rods, and I managed to get 82 more. Day 95, I gave Caroline a very late pumpkin, then picked up my axe from Clint. Marnie had requested cave carrots for her goats, which I was happy to provide, and Hayley wanted a jar opening for some reason, which has to be one of the stupidest cutscenes in the game. Finally, I gave Emily an amethyst for Clint, but it didn't go very well for him, and honestly, he should have just gotten one for her himself. That night on the farm, I cleared all the tree stumps out, getting enough hardwood to make a cheesemaker, which would soon start getting us lots of money. On day 96, all of my ducks were fully grown. I also had my first few juniper berries finish. I took my axe to be upgraded a second time, then went around town giving out some more last minute gifts. How did this happen? I've ended up back at the sewing machine! But I did succeed in making my favourite winter clothing item so far, a bomber jacket. I double gifted the wizard by completing a quest for him, and then spent the evening back on my farm, decorating once again. On day 97, a baby chick was born, which I named Tapple. The wizard asked us to visit him with the promise of teaching us magic, fed us a drink that for some reason tasted like cotton candy, and then the next thing I knew my hair was in braids. Turns out we can all use magic with the help of a couple of YouTube tutorials. For the rest of the day, I gave out some gifts and completed the home cook bundle in the community centre, getting 5 cook breakfasts for it. It's day 98 and the great juniper berry harvest has begun. This took so long to pick, but it was extremely satisfying, especially since a lot of them drop more than one. I picked up my axe from Clint, deciding not to upgrade anything else for a while, and then headed to the secret woods, chopping down all the tree stumps to earn 23 hardwood. I used it to make 2 more cheesemakers and found myself with some time to kill. I blinked, and suddenly the sewing machine was in front of me. The wizard's magic lessons had worked after all. Nothing I made was that great. I prefer my bomber jacket to my hoodie, and my hat is better too. But that evening I realised I had so many clothes, it was probably time to start making a wardrobe. On day 99, I took some hardwood to the community centre, finishing the construction bundle and unlocking the bridge to the quarry. The Junimos did their little dance and fixed up the room, and now everything was looking super nice. So I left and went to the night market. I bought some flowers, but not much else, as I have a surprise for the final day. I've been saving up all of my artisan products, and I want to see how much money we can end the 100 days on. The answer? We made over 60,000 gold in one day. I know lots of people have made way more, but it's quite impressive that I wasn't even trying. That's just how broken artisan products are if you save them up for 1 week. And so, we're at the final day. I checked in on the coop and barn animals, spent my last bit of time decorating for screenshots. I won't show you this one because there will be a montage at the end. I ran around town giving out gifts, still unsure whether I had gotten 10 villagers above that 5 heart threshold, and took Artemis with me the whole day. I decided to wrap things up on the mermaid boat, where I finally opened my menu to find not 10, but 11 villagers over 5 hearts, the last of which being Hayley. So, how did we do? Our health and energy never hit 0, so we didn't die. We managed to make over 10 friends. Did we make any progress on the community centre? I'll leave that one up to you guys. Leave a comment saying what you think, but we definitely went try-hard mode and won every festival, so I'm going to say that's at least 3.5 out of 4. Thank you so much for watching these 100 days. If you'd like to see 200 days, leave a like. And now I'm going to show you the screenshots of the farm. Thanks for watching! Heya! Thank you for watching this video. It takes a lot to put these together, including 5 to 8 hours just to put doodle in every video, so if you want to support this channel or just see more videos like this, maybe consider giving us a like or a subscribe, or comment some feedback down below. Thanks for watching!